Welcome to the Big Picture. Tonight's guest is none other than Pastor Paul Begley. We love it when he comes on because he's always breaking news. He's always telling us what's going on in this world. And Lord have mercy, if we ever needed to know what is going on in this world, it's right now. I mean, what is about to happen? We're going to get breaking news tonight. We're going to cover Israel tonight. We're going to cover the war in Ukraine. Will Zelensky and Trump become friends? Will they become best buddies? Are they going to make up? Or is it going to continue to be a spanking like he got the last time? And then we're going to ask the man himself what his opinion is of this so-called UFO disclosure. That's just a few things that we're going to talk about tonight on the Kingdom Intelligence Report. Let's go. Let's do this thing. All right. It is the Kingdom Intelligence Report. It is the night that we bring in the man, the myth, the legend. Once a month, we bring him in. And I'm telling you what, we are privileged because not a lot of people have that blessing to have Pastor Paul Begley come in and talk about the day. So let's bring him in, y'all. Here he comes. Here he comes. The crowd. They always. Yes. They always.
Are you serious?
Come on.
It's wonderful. I'm elevating.
Look at you.
Elevating.
Look at you representing. Elevate. Hey, y'all, if y'all don't know what that means, come on. I got your name in front of us. You got to stick it up, bro. There it is. Elevate. There it is. Now, what is that? That is our conference that we have every year that Pastor Paul and Heidi always come to. They get refilled. Then he preaches for us. If his schedule permits on that Sunday. But I'll never forget that first one. I think it was the first one you came to, and God so wrecked you that you went back to the hotel room and God began to give you some visions about a rocket launching or something.
Yes. I seen a rocket launching and it literally elevated. You talk about elevation. And the Lord said to me, Solid Rock Church is about to elevate. It's about to, it's going to take off like a rocket ship. And really, I think that, and then we were going right into COVID.
Yep, it's true.
So it's like, okay, so how does this work? Well, it works because God sometimes has to reposition us to get us to go where we need to go.
And you spoke that over our church, but then Paul Begley Prophecy went through the roof as well. I mean, your channel just blew up.
It did. It blew up, and it was an incredible run. And God's been doing, but also our book also then came out and did really well. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely a word for me, for our ministry and for Solid Rock Church. And I think for what you're doing right now, with your podcast and all the great work you're doing here online. Yeah.
I appreciate it. And for those, there's many of you that have come to know us over the last few years and have desired to come down to our church. You want to meet me and Pastor Paul Begley, and I'm speaking for you because I don't know what your calendar looks like, but I'm hoping that you're still coming.
I've completely cleared it off for Elevate.
Come on. So just come to Birmingham in October. This year, it's October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, the first Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of the month. And so it'll be our 31st annual. And man, come down and meet me and Paul and everybody else that's there. We would love to meet the Big Picture family and the Paul Begley Prophecy family.
Amen.
So, all right, Pastor Paul, I mean, they didn't come here just to see us and hear us talk about, going to church and all that. They want to hear what Pastor Paul Begley has to say about what is going on in the world. Now, the last time that we talked, it was just a couple of weeks after Trump had taken office, and the world had already changed. I mean, we were both going, what in the world? What is happening? What is happening? So here we are now. We are in the first week of March. And it seems like he's been a president already for 6 months to me. It's just insane.
Oh.
But my first question is, what is the Trump effect doing? You think what is it? Was it just a flash in the pan, or do you think the world is shifting? Is Donald Trump affecting world events, and what kind of effect is it having?
It's a new Trump order. It's in other words, the world is completely shifted and everybody hit the brakes, and some of them crashed into the side of the wall.
Wow.
Because they don't know what to do. But Donald Trump in this incredible, he's done more in 35 days than most presidents will do in 2 terms. And he's done it without any legislation. I mean, that's yet to come. And they're working on a big, beautiful deal. But there's some serious legislation that's coming with big time tax adjustments and changes. big time, probably the end of the IRS, the end of the Department of Education. Look for those two huge moves to happen. The Democrats are in disarray. I mean, they're so confused, Larry, that tonight they don't know if they should come to the joint session of Congress, or should they boycott, or should they bring protesters, or would that look bad? Should they wear pink? Some are going to wear black. They don't know. There's no leader. There's no. They're in an absolute state of chaos. And it's going to show tonight. They're going to try to disrupt Trump, but it's really going to backfire tonight. They're going to be the ones in disarray.
And just so you know, when this is airing, the speech that we're talking about has already happened, and that's fine. Yeah. But I think it's good that we're talking about it, because most people know that we pre-record this. So this is on Tuesday. This is the day that tonight. We're actually going to, I don't know what your plans are, but we're going to stream it live and just watch it together. And
we're do the same thing.
So let's just go there. Let's just see how accurate we are on this Thursday night that we're watching it. Let's make some predictions. Let's just go ahead and say give me one or two big things, and we're not prophesying this. This is just our gut feeling. One or two big things that you think he's going to drop tonight.
I think he will. I think he's going to drop. He's going to drop the IRS thing I just said. I think he's going to bring that up. How he's going to abolish it, and how he's going to do tax cuts. He's going to use tariffs. He is going to talk about, elimination of consolidation of some other agencies. He's going to brag about what Doge has done. Elon Musk is going to be in attendance. They're going to just break out in several disruptions. And he's going to probably holler for the sergeant of arms to drag these people out of here. He don't care. And so he's going to show he's in charge. I promise you, the world will know that man's in charge. But he's going to throw out some things. He's going to tell you how he's going to end the war with Russia, and how he's going to try to bring peace out of the East.
Like I said, Pastor, we're predicting, because when this airs, it will already be behind us. But one of the things that's breaking today is that he's going to announce, this was what was said on Fox News, a handshake deal that he's made, whether it be digitally, handshake, whatever, with Zelensky, that since all this fallout happened, that there's going to be a major announcement tonight on the war in Ukraine, which takes me to this. I want to pick your brain. When you saw that go down in the Oval Office, I mean, none of us has ever seen anything like that in the history of this country. That's never happened. But you've got two sides of the coin. You've got those that are saying, "What little, wear that sweatshirt in there, disrespecting the house. You got spanked and you deserved it." And then the flip side is that those that are the haters, and even those that are middle of the roaders and don't want to upset the apple cart, were accusing Trump of being disrespectful, childish. Him and Vance had sabotaged and ambushed Zelensky. What was he going to do and all this? What was your first initial reaction? And now that you've had time to process it, what do you think in the big picture of the entire war in Ukraine? Was anything affected and shifted in that Oval Office? What we call brawl at the Oval Office?
Yeah, I think so. I think that Zelensky found out that there's a new sheriff in town. You just don't show up in Washington and get 60 and 70 and 80 billion dollars give to you. Where Biden's half asleep, and it's a 5-minute conversation, and says, "Yeah, my guys will help you. Whatever you need, just talk to my guys in the back." And Zelensky goes home with 60, 70, 80 billion dollars, and Lord knows where that went, and who all got kicked back, and who all got supplied with that. And he was like a kid in a candy shop for 3 years, and all of a sudden he shows up, and his hand, don't even look at the cookie jar, you're going to get smacked. And he thought he could come in there, and I think he was propped up. I do believe that the Europeans propped him up, and I think the Democrats propped him up. And he went in there, and his goal was to embarrass Trump into continuing to support him, and that the polls would flip in his favor. I think he premeditatedly was going to try to flip this on Trump. What he didn't expect is the reaction of Vance and Trump.
Yeah.
and he didn't expect to get tossed out on his ear. And Trump literally ate his lunch. And I'm not joking about that. I mean, he literally ate his lunch.
He did.
And I mean, Trump, you're going home without supper, young man. And he got spanked, and he got spanked hard. And then, and meanwhile, Trump picked up the phone and called the Russians and said, "Okay, we're gonna fix this guy. Don't worry, and we're gonna also start taking sanctions away from you."
Yeah. Well, one thing that I noticed is you always hear he's so bombastic, he's out of control, and all this. But this is Trump 2.0 has really surprised me how reserved, mature he has been, being careful and strategic with his words.
Yep.
So, he's just sitting there and he ain't saying nothing. And I don't know if it's premeditated or what, but then something just snapped in J.D. Vance. And now it's coming out that the reason Vance went there and rebuked him and started this whole thing is that before they ever went in the Oval Office, they had already talked about all this. And he was blindsided by the fact, hey, I see what you're doing here. Why didn't you talk about this back there? We made it clear what this was supposed to be about, this mineral deal. And here you are talking about troops on the ground and all this. And Trump just sit there and didn't say nothing. He just was quiet. He was just quiet. And J.D. Vance was just ripping him a new one. And Trump didn't even say anything until Zelensky says, and you're going to feel it. And then that was it. That was it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And Marco Rubio has confirmed what you just said, and that is that there was a 40-minute conversation in the back room. They had a knockdown, drag-out session in the back room. And they had come up and finally had said, okay, we know what we're going to do. We're going out here. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to have lunch, and we're going to sign this thing. It's going to be okay. We've worked it out. But Zelensky wanted to work it out again in front of the cameras. And he wanted to be tough guy. And you were exactly right. Trump just sat there, is like listening to his rhetoric, thinking, I ain't got time for this guy. Let's get on with it. And I got a golf game, I got to do. And all of a sudden, Vance was sitting there thinking, you know what? We've just done this. You come in here, and now you're going to do this. And I think J.D. Vance, the Marine, in J.D. Vance came out. The Marine of you're disrespecting the commander in chief. I'm about ready, little man, to put you in a headlock and choke you out. I kind of felt that he wanted to get a piece of him.
I agree.
And Trump at that point, and then when Zelensky made the comment that you have a big, beautiful ocean there that you don't understand, and these coming for you. That was it. Trump's like, don't tell me what, don't prophesy over me. Don't tell us what we're going to get. And then that was it. Because when Trump got done, then it was over. It was over. Kick him out. Don't give him lunch. Send him on his way.
Dude, the optics of showing them in the room, taking out the chairs, bringing out the podium, shutting it down. And when it came out that he had basically been kicked out of the White House. And then, of course, he goes on Fox News that night. And I watched the interview. I don't know if you watched it live, but we watched it live. And he was already trying to backpedal, but he was still like in PTSD of that. He was still a little bit in shock.
Brett Baer gave him 2 times. Don't you want to apologize to the president? And he asked him twice in that 3 minutes there. And Zelensky would not apologize. He was backpedaling. He was, he knew he was in trouble, but he still, man, this guy's got a lot of pride. And I don't know what's going on with him, but his own people, I think that I told my wife, I said, he won't live 30 days. And
live?
Because either his own people will take him out for this. Because they want this war over. Okay. They're tired. They're tired of burying their sons. They're tired of their homes and apartments being blown apart. They can't win this, and they know it. And either they'll take him out or the CIA will take him out because he's standing in the way of $500 billion of the U.S. Or the Russians will take him out. But he's right now, and he better change his tune. So he ran over there to get a hug or two from Macron and Starmer. They hugged him and said, we love you. We're proud of you, but we ain't got no money. We need
right.
So now what? You got to come crawling back to Trump. And Trump will graciously give him a way out. Yeah. But he will give him one more little spanking as he does it. Because you just don't do that. Yeah.
Well, this whole thing about the mineral rights and the mineral repayback and all this, nobody's really taking a deep dive into that. I mean, nobody ever mentioned that as an option to us until Donald Trump. It's
I
like,
know.
where are the people that are going, that's genius. I mean,
It's
we've been
genius.
giving away money, just tax dollars, just throwing it to the wind. Here comes a guy who says, hey, look, we want our money back. And if we don't
Yep.
get our money back, here's what we're going to do. And what Trump was trying to tell him and what J.D. Vance was trying to say when he first initially went there was, listen, if we have the mineral rights, we're not going to put boots on the ground far as forces, but we're going to have Americans there protecting our rights.
Right.
We're going to have
That's right.
businesses there, and we're going to have an interest in your country. It's going to
Yep.
matter to us. So you ought to know that we're not going to just let Russia come in and take our mineral rights. So
Ain't no
therefore,
way.
coming with that is security. But we're not.
Actually, Larry, it's better than having a NATO agreement. You can have the NATO. You can say we're part of NATO on paper. That's that's a paper. That's a nice little paper trail. But when the United States is working in getting your uranium, your titanium, your gold, your silver, your oil, your gas, your coal, they're sharing the royalties with you. And U.S. is going to protect that. I mean, that's it. This is better than being part of NATO. It's the United States business, U.S. government in full bloom protection. It's better. Forget about NATO. You've got something better than NATO. And that's what Trump was trying to say. And also, Trump was brilliant because Trump also brought up the titanium and the uranium and the uranium or whatever it is.
One of them haniums.
That this is the very ingredients and that we need for defense to keep up with the Chinese and the Russians and to get advantage. We don't want to have to buy this stuff from the Russians. Let's mine it ourselves and have it ourselves so we're not held hostage. This is strategically, militarily, a better move for us. So not only is Trump getting our money back, plus he's also keeping the Russians at bay, which is good for NATO and Ukraine. And he's getting the ingredients he needs to take a step over where China is. This is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant move. And people should be swooning in the streets right now of how brilliant this is instead of the chaos that you folks saw at the State of the Union. I'm sorry, but I guarantee you're going to see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they can't admit it. Secretly, they probably are. Secretly, people that know anything about the economy, know anything about world affairs, secretly they're saying, look, we really can't come against this policy because this is, nobody was talking about mineral rights. Nobody was talking about actual finding a way to peace. And so the reality is this, it's either one of the two things. They either hate him so much they cannot allow themselves to align, period. No matter if they're in agreement, they can't publicly be seen that because they'll be raked over politically. Or they are a part of the system, the war machine they're getting the kickbacks. And we all know that's what Ukraine has mostly been about on the American side and the global side is the military kickbacks. One thing I want to remind you of, Pastor Paul, it's been a while now, and the way news goes so fast, we tend to forget this. Sandy and I, way back before we were in this studio, I remember us being in our last studio, and one of our Monday night shows, we showed a video, and I need to go back, and I'm gonna pull it up, and I'm gonna do a show on it and remind people. And they may have wiped it from the internet, but we showed a video, maybe a year and a half ago, where Zelensky is in a boardroom in Kiev with Larry Fink. Is that his name? Of BlackRock, the CEO of BlackRock.
Larry.
So he is in the room. He flies to Ukraine. And the video shows them signing a contract and BlackRock and Zelensky agreeing the deal for BlackRock to rebuild Ukraine in the post-war. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that, but I do remember him being with BlackRock. I didn't remember what the deal was about.
They openly said on the camera, we showed it, and we told our listeners, our viewers, we said, listen, don't forget this. And they're standing side by side, taking a picture together in Kiev, and Zelensky is agreeing and signed a contract giving BlackRock the right to fund and rebuild post-war Ukraine. So when I saw that go down in the Oval Office and he began to see that new sheriff in town, like you're saying, cutting off the money, and he's wanting now to have mineral rights. What else is he going to try to be in charge of? It's almost like now that you remember that, you start looking his face like, uh-oh, the powers that be, the deep state and the cabal, all these people that are funded by BlackRock and all this, they're putting pressure on him. So when you sign a deal with BlackRock to rebuild post-war, and then you're getting close to post-war because peace is being pushed on you, I think there's more to it. Whether we ever hear that again, there's more to it than going on than what we've been told.
That's a great perspective that you've come up with and reminded. I do remember Zelensky being in there in the room with Fink. I don't remember what they signed about. I'm glad you have brought that back to the table. And look, BlackRock is deep state, as there ever was. He's a globalist with the rest of the European leaders are globalist, okay? And then the Biden administration were globalist. And so all of a sudden, Trump has superseded this whole thing. He has blown a hole right through that whole arrangement and saying, this is how it's going to work. Forget about you and BlackRock. In other words, you can forget about you and BlackRock. Yeah. I don't know what you guys are doing. You know, if he wants to pour some cement for sidewalks, fine. But we're mining the minerals. We're taking the values, and we're going to protect it. And so I think Zelensky is going to be twisting in the wind here and trying to figure out what in the world, where does he land? He better figure this out. Yeah. Or he's not going to be around. I'm telling you, he's not going to be around. Wow. His own people look, he canceled the election in May. Yeah. His people are saying, you're crazy. You stopped the election. You have a deal on the table. You insult the president of the United States. We got bombs blowing stuff up all around us. We're dead broken, and the Europeans aren't going to help us. You got to what are you doing? Okay. So you have nailed something here with BlackRock. I think we need to dig deeper into this. We need to dig deeper.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when I find that and I make the show and everything about it, I'll send it to you and I'll send you the information. But I just want to remind everybody, I remember it vividly. And you're talking about BlackRock is the number one holder of money in the world. And when you got, I mean, he's huge. He's huge. And you know, have you noticed how since all this DEI stuff has been attacked by Trump, the BlackRocks of the world and all this, they just went quiet. It's like World Economic Forum. It was just a little blip on the screen. They just had their little meeting. Nobody's talking about it. I don't trust them as far as I can throw them, Paul. They are sitting back. They're waiting. They're planning. I think there's some black swan events. I think there's some PSYOP operations that are about to happen, because I told my wife the other night, I said, look, I hope I'm wrong, but I got this gut feeling that if there's ever been an environment for some kind of diversion, black swan event or whatever to happen in Ukraine, or even more so in Russia, something there in this war that will affect Americans, maybe an American group of people are taken out by Russia or something like that, that will cause America to rise up and say, wait a minute, we can't get out of this thing. We need to destroy Russia, because they want World War III. They want World War III. That's too much money. It's too much money involved. And control. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with you. They're way too quiet. The globalists have went absolutely silent almost. And so has the drug cartels out of Mexico. I mean, they've went dead silent. They can't get their drugs across right now, hardly at all. Very little of it can they get across. There's no people coming across. They're in some kind of recalculation mode. And so it's like they went back into retreat. BlackRock went into retreat. Klaus Schwab and the globalist, they've all went back. Justin Trudeau's threw in the towel and said, I'm done. You know, I'm serious. They are literally in disarray right now, because I think they did not see this coming. No. And Trump's not coming in the same way he did the first time, Bishop. He's coming in with the people. He knows how the world works now. He knows who the players are, not just in America and American politics in the swamp, but he knows all the global players and how they play. And he's going to work every angle. He's going to pit them against each other. It is an incredible move. I can't wait. I can't say right now, but my book that I'm writing, my next book I'm writing, I just wish I could tell you. there's some information we've gotten that we're putting in the book. It is you are on top of this. You are all over this thing that the globalist, and you're right. There could be a black swan event. There could be some type of flag, a false flag event to draw America back into a fighting mode and to try to keep this thing going. The industrial military complex has been fed, and the gravy train is being tossed around among the politicians, not just the American politicians, the Democrats and some of the rhinos, but politicians globally are getting kickbacks from this whole thing.
Absolutely.
This is going to blow sky high. I'm telling you, and maybe that's what Mike around the world. Maybe that's some of the things that he understands now and knows what's going on, and the potential threats of some kind of false flag or black swan event that could literally change the course of history.
Well, remember when the word of God says, when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction come upon them, travail upon a woman. Now, what I try to remind my church all the time in our big picture family here is that peace and safety, especially the word peace is a military term. A lot of people don't think about that. They think about peace as just a word for calm. No, peace means war and chaos has ceased.
Yes.
So peace is a military term. That means post-war, post-trauma, post-chaos. You don't have peace when you don't seek peace when things are going great. You seek peace when you're in war. So what Trump is saying is, what I want is a peace deal. I want a peace deal. So what does that mean? He's saying I want a peace deal because we're in war. We're in a war situation. So what I'm trying to tell you is this, big picture. Listen, when Jesus said, and the word of God said, when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction, that means there has to be global chaos and at least the very threat of global war for there to be anyone crying out for peace and safety, and for them to have the treaty that will be confirmed by the Antichrist and so forth. So it's inevitable. We're going in that direction. Now, where we go out, where we're taking up, pre-trib, post-trib, mid-trib, pan-trib, going to pan out, wherever it is. I mean, bottom line is this. Whenever it is, I'm going on that trip, and y'all can stay here if you want to, because they need some good people here to take care of the place. I'm out. But here's my question. How, because that's mainly talking about Israel, okay? Israel's the fig tree. So when you look, everybody's talking about Zelensky. Everybody's talking about Ukraine now. But let's not forget, there is chaos in Israel. There is war in Israel. And as far as I'm concerned, it looks like the ceasefire is over. And it looks like that, from what I understand, that Netanyahu may be getting ready to go back in. And I don't know. So I guess where I'm going is, and we're going to come back after this question, I want to ask you about Mike from around the world. But right now, I want to ask you, what is coming in Israel? What is your people telling you in Israel? And what is the Trump effect on Israel? And what is the whole Zelensky thing, if at all? And it may not. All of that together, what is everything that we've talked about? How does that affect Israel?
Well, Israel right now has just called up 50,000 more troops and deploying them, and they're headed toward the Gaza border. And they've put another 400,000 reservists on call, readied. They're getting them ready. 400,000. So what this means is Israel is, if there is not a phase 2 hostage released, which includes the surrender of Hamas, Israel's going to go in and finish this off. And matter of fact, that was what one of the insiders from the United States government that we have contact with that sent us last night, telling us that the door of Gaza gates are shut and the weapons are being brought in. Weapons that have never been used or seen before are about to be used. The gates of hell shall open. This is one of the people from the inside. Now, in other words, Netanyahu is about ready, Bishop, to go in there. Now, at the same time that we're saying this, and the Arab leaders are meeting on Tuesday, and this is Thursday night. So on Tuesday, the Arab leaders were meeting in Egypt, and they have been discussed, and they have discussed a counter proposal to President Trump's Gaza Strip, where you take the depopulation, you take all the Palestinians, you either put half of them in Egypt and half of them in Jordan, and then you rebuild Gaza. Well, the Arab nations are now in Egypt and have been meeting there starting on Tuesday to try to come up with a different approach to this, how they can do this. But at the same time, they're in disagreement on what do you do with all these 2 million people? Right. None of them want them. And they're also in disagreement on, does Hamas stay in power or not? Wow. Okay. So the Arab countries are in a state of confusion on how to fix this problem. And Trump is saying, look, you can't rebuild something with people living there, with tunnels that need to be filled in and people everywhere. There's no way. It'd be like a big, huge project. You don't have people living on the construction site. Okay. You just can't do it. Yeah. So this is a huge situation developing now, and and I really believe that we're about ready to see I don't think I was hoping to God the Middle East was going to end. I've been praying. I want to go back to Israel, and Larry, you and I go back and let's take a bunch of people. Yeah. And the Lord said to me, you ain't taking a bunch of people there right now, because this thing is not over yet. You don't understand. There's another ugly phase. I'm afraid we're going to have another very ugly phase of war. And I don't know who all might jump in it before it's all said and done. And that may bring us to Zelensky, because Zelensky is still the fly in the ointment, to be honest. He is stinking up the apothecary. He literally won't get out of the way. And if he can, he wants to keep this thing going, so the gravy train keeps going. Right. But at the same time, he'll try to play off of whatever goes on in the Middle East. Any chaos that goes on somewhere else, he may try to use that to his benefit. So when you look at prophecy, Russia is involved in some way in both of these areas. He sure is. Okay, whether it be Gog and Magog, or whether it be the Sixth Trumpet War, which you call it in Revelation 9, or whatever. So this is a dangerous time. I don't think we've understand. And then don't forget, I know he didn't bring up China, but just don't forget about them. They're hanging around. China's circling the they're all over the place. They're over on the coast of Australia. They're on the coast of New Zealand. They're hanging around. They're shooting stuff off. Yep. This is a dangerous world we're in. Yes. And when they say peace and safety, guys, we still may be ready for the great destruction.
Wow.
I don't want it.
What are you hearing, if any? And the answer may be you haven't heard anything, but what are you hearing about the remaining hostages? Do you think that there's any of them that's still with us, or do you think they're all gone?
Well, the reports are that 24 of them are alive and 39 are dead. Okay. I would say that would be optimistic. Okay. I would say that's optimistic. I believe there is a few that are alive. And they know they can't give them back, because if they do, here comes Netanyahu and the troops. Yeah. So they're going to drag this out. They're going to string this along, which they've been doing. And I really think Trump wants to finish off this Russia situation, and then he's going to turn his guns at the Middle East. He's going. Let's get this done. And then he's going to turn. He's going to swing in that direction. Yeah, and he's got something up his sleeve that he hasn't. He's got a card he has not played. I don't know what it is. He's got a trump card for real. I'm not sure what it is yet, but he will. But he don't want to play it at the same time. He's got to finish off this thing with Russia and Ukraine, and he's about there. And maybe we're about ready to see some miraculous handshake thing. Yeah. And we'll just see. But this is a dangerous time. We're in a very dangerous time.
Well, speaking of a very dangerous time, most people, maybe not all, but most people that watch the big picture, all also are very familiar with one of your, if not your most famous guests that you have consistently every week. Then he's known as Mike from around the world. Now, I don't know if his real name is Mike, and I don't know from where in the world he is. He comes to us every week from somewhere in the hidden in the mountains somewhere in the world. Mike from around the world is his name that he's been using on your show for years. He has been someone who I go back and look at the live chat, and every week people are saying, he's got his own MFATW, he's got his own acronym, where we know who he is. And they'll say, he said this on Paul's show. Have you heard Mike said this? Have you heard Mike said that? So he is a voice that carries weight. And I don't know what he does, but from what I understand, he's very connected with military intelligence and so forth in his life. And that's why he goes under the code name. That's why he's never been seen on camera, and his identity's not been revealed. And he gives every week very, sometimes absolutely crazy stuff. I mean, sometimes me and Sandy is like, what in the world did we just listen to? I mean, what scares you to death? The things that he says.
Yeah.
But something happened this week that I could tell shook you when it comes to the very dangerous times that we're in. And so take a moment and tell us what happened and why it concerns you, what was out of his norm, and his response time and so forth, and just what he said. Now, tonight, you're watching this on Thursday night, and this show with Paul immediately precedes your show tonight with Mike from around the world. And I am sure you're going to do a deep dive into this. So tell us what you were told this week from Mike.
We after the Zelensky fallout on Friday, we immediately reached out to him can we get you on? When can you be available? And would you like to come on Sunday night or anytime? And there was 3 days of darkness. We went into 3 days of darkness, which he never does that. Yeah. I mean, yes, there's sometimes 8, 10, 12 hours where he don't respond because of sensitive or security reasons or situations that has him tied up. Never 3 days. And so we were sure he would show up for Sunday night. We were sure we were going to get an email. I went ahead and titled the show, and I was just sure he was going to come. And there was nothing. We heard nothing from him until Monday evening. And this is what he said. I'll read it. Hello. I have an update on global affairs I'll be sending later. Pastor and Heidi, we are in the throes as never before. Wow. And it will alter the lives of all who are alive. Thank you both for being leaders of trust during these trying times. God bless you always, Mike. I mean, it was chilling.
Yeah.
This will alter the lives of all who are alive, which makes you think some kind of event is going to happen that could be catastrophic. Is it external? Is it war? Is it disease? Is it a bioweapon? Is it nuclear? Is it an asteroid? I mean, what in the world are we talking about? Is it the brink of Armageddon? We use that term. I know Armageddon's after the millennial reign, but I'm just saying, well, what does this mean? I mean, it's very chilling. Now, this was at 6:49 last night. And I'm still, as of Tuesday, I should say, that was Monday night. Okay. It's 6. Okay. So as of right now, as we're taping, there has been silence, which is again concerning me that he hasn't responded. So
because in the email that you just read, I can't remember the exact words. He said, we're in the throes of like never before. And then he said, I will update you shortly. Did he say later tonight or just at a later time?
He says, we are in the throes as never before, and it will alter the lives of all who are alive. He said, I have an update on global affairs I will be sending later. So we actually anticipated an email Monday night later, but it never came. It still hasn't come.
Here it is over 24 hours, and you're still looking for it. And I'm telling you, I know you're going to get into it tonight. So as soon as this show's over with, we're all going over because and wow, I don't want to speak this. I don't want to declare this at all, but Lord have mercy. What if he don't show tonight?
If he didn't show on a Thursday night,
You'd be like, let's go to the bunker.
I'd be going for the bunker. Yeah,
we need to find a bunker. Mike didn't show up on a Thursday night.
This is the one time I would probably say, maybe it's time to go visit him. I know where he's at. I know where he lives. I know where he's at.
What?
Of course. Wait, I'm sorry.
What did we just break something right here on the big
picture? Maybe. I do know, but he's not always there.
Okay.
Because he is truly all around the world. Okay.
Wow.
That I can tell you. And so something's up.
Mike.
Something's up. Like for 12 years, been interviewing him and talking with him. This is different than anything in 12 years. There's been some dark periods. There's been some silence. There's been some 12 hours or 18 hours of he went quiet. But if he don't show up tonight on Thursday night, if he don't show,
your people will fall. Everybody will melt down.
Better go to you better have a bunker. You better. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, seriously.
Now, look. Before we move off of Mike, and I'm getting old, so I don't know. This may just be my memory. I'm not sure. I may have imagined what I'm about to say, but I have this memory of a recent show watching you with Mike. Is my memory correct? Did he say something like, Paul, it's getting pretty close to when I'm going to come on your show and reveal himself of who he is? Did he not say that it's getting close to revealing who he is?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Wow.
And this is big. There was a period of time back in 2016 that he thought he was going to be allowed to retire and reveal his, and we had even set up for I went ahead and rented a facility in Dallas, Texas, in which Delaney actually went.
Sure did.
And I rented, and it was Mike's coming out party. He was scheduled to be one of the speakers. He was going to come on the stage and reveal himself and speak that day.
Wow.
And then 24 hours before I was in Dallas. I was already there setting up stuff when I got the call that I can't, they were not going to let me do it. And I mean, I just probably about lost it with them. I mean, he and I we had a serious, we didn't have a Zelensky moment, but we almost did. They're going to string me up out here tomorrow. I remember saying to him, I said, do you understand? There's people that have flown in from around the country. He said, and he was very, 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 very apologetic and very cordial about it, and very, very sorry and he said, but I promise you, when I do finally get relieved to do this, I will do this with you. And so so I just said, okay, I'm not going to even ask again until you really can. Yeah. And so when he did say what you said, yes, he did say that, which makes me think that they are about ready to let him finally retire. And I think the word retire is a strange word, because I think these guys don't really ever, they're always on call if they're needed. I mean, they know too much.
Yeah.
But
it's like preachers. We don't get to retire either. We don't get to retire either.
How are we going to retire?
Yeah, we're going to retire. Yeah.
Even if we said we were retired, we're never retired, because
never retired. No.
The Lord's call won't allow you. You have to be ready when needed.
Yeah.
We're on the front lines. And so,
but I think feels like this.
Apparently, his day is coming where they're going to let him be able to relax and come out and say, "Here I am. I am Mike from the world."
And then you pair that with the cryptic message. I hate to use those words, but that he sent you about this warning. Paul, we are in the throes of things that will affect the lives of everyone who is living. I mean, what a statement! Yeah. And then it's almost like he's seen something coming that's going to be, I'm going to stay around until this, because this is my swan song, if you will. I'm going to be around to this. And I believe that when he will break whatever this is on your show. He whatever this is, when he feels like he will break it on your show.
Yeah, I think he will.
And I think it will be global affected. What he says will affect the world, just like you said, on your show.
Yeah. He said something last week. He brought up that a date has been set in 2027. And I said, okay, whoa. He said, I can't say what that is yet, but I can tell you that there's a date that has been set for 2027. And this is why he has said, and he said, we may know more in 2025. Now, he has been saying that, and that has to do with the Kuiper Belt and the incoming clouds of asteroids. He has mentioned that, because every time I bring up Apophis in 2029 and the new one, RY4 in 2032, he says, don't even worry about it. There's another event coming before that. Don't even worry about Apophis. There's something bigger.
Wow.
And so last week he said, there is a date now set for 2027. So I'll be asking him again tonight, as well. Is that part of this cryptic message? Is this, or are these two separate things? I'm going to be digging deep. I'm going to be asking questions. He's going to be dodging and weaving and sometimes you're pivoting and shifting. But I'm going to keep coming back to this 2-3 times at least, to see if we can get at least get an understanding of in what arena are we talking? Are we talking war? Are we talking biological? Are we talking deep impact? Are the sun's going to explode? You know, so we got to at least try to narrow down the field, and I'm going to try to do that tonight.
Well, you know, and I've heard him talk many times about his opinions and the things about the beings, whether they be aliens, whatever you want to call them, demonic beings. Talks a lot about, and you and I have talked a lot about the new thing that people's talking about so much, the USOs, the submersible, unidentified submersible objects.
I've been talking about that for a couple of years, and I keep blowing him off on that. Not blowing him off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah, we're talking about, we got to talk about the saucers in the sky. And he kept talking about under the water. And now the government and this Anna Paulina Luna is going to chair this committee that's going to supposedly release all this stuff, which I'll believe it when I see it. But one of the things that she was talking about, she openly said UFOs, UAPs, and USOs. So she said
that's the first governmental confirmation of what Mike has been saying for 2 years. That was the first time I heard it. I'm saying, whoa.
Yeah.
So what he's been telling us is something that government has known. He's known.
Yep.
But now finally we're getting in this era of disclosure. Yeah. We're going to hear about USOs.
Well, let's go there in the time we have left here. I want to pick your brain on that. You know, I'm hearing that term more and more and more. Our mutual friend L.A. Marzulli, his great book Rungs of Disclosure, he's been talking about it for years. You've been talking about it. Several people have been talking about it. Now, depending on what side you're on, demons, interplanetary, interdimensional, what are they? All this kind of stuff. All of them, regardless of where you land on what aliens are, they're all talking about disclosure. They're all talking about our government, the United Nations, and the world, and the Catholic Church, religions all over the world are getting ready for something that's at least has the term disclosure. So when you hear the term UFO disclosure, you start seeing for the first time in your ministry and in my ministry, the government openly admitting these things and saying, yes, we possess these things, and yes, we need to talk about these things. As a man of God, where do you see this UFO disclosure narrative going? And do you believe it's just going to be a distraction and it's not going to really be the truth? Or do you think we're going to find out the truth?
Well, the truth will set us free. That's for sure. I think we're going to get a combination of everything. I think we're going to hear the truth, but it's going to be buried in the midst of deception. In my book, Revelation 9:11, I wrote in the 10th chapter, this chapter is titled Fallen Angels, the Nephilim, UFOs, and the Great Deception. When you look at what Paul talks about in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and he talks about a strong delusion, there's no doubt in my mind that Lucifer's time is running out.
Yes.
He is about to be exposed for the demon that he is. And his only move he has left is to try to bring such deception to the world that even the very elect will be deceived if it were possible. And shows like yours, The Big Picture, and others who are not afraid to approach this subject is critical now. It's critical because it's part of the Antichrist, cloak of the Antichrist. I'm going to call it the cloak in which the Antichrist is in a fog, is moving around. We're doing a webinar called Alien Encounters. It's Friday night, March 21st. I've got several different speakers for this, but we are actually interviewing for over 2 hours individual people who have had encounters, encounters with something. Some of them think they've seen UFOs. Some of them think they've seen aliens. Some believe they've seen reptilians. Some believe they've seen grays. Some think they've seen fallen angels or demons or the sons of the Nephilim or all kinds of different. Some think it's interdimensional. Some have been, but they've had encounters. Some say they were abducted. Some say they've just. All of them, though, it was intrusive. That it was unwelcoming. It was diabolical, and it brought fear. All of that means it isn't of God.
Right.
When an angel of the Lord appears, it always addresses, read the scriptures, always the angel says, "Fear not, for I am an angel of the Lord," or "I am the angel Gabriel," or always addresses the individual with, "I'm a messenger from heaven." Yes. Demons don't address themselves that way. They come as deceptive entities.
That's so good.
So I'm going to be in this. I'm actually going to do this, Larry, and I'm not trying to plug the book, but I'm just going to say,
plug it.
In the book, the 10th chapter. Those of you who have my book, you can go read the 10th chapter. It's about what I'm going to teach. I'm going to actually my presentation is going to be 1 hour just on the 10th chapter of the book.
Wow.
And this grand deception. So I think, Larry, to answer your question, we're entering in the USO is just another branch of this grand disclosure. And they are going to disclose things, but what they disclose may not be what they say it is. It's disclosure with deception. This is why we have to have the spirit of discernment. And you can't discern anything if you don't know the Bible.
That's so good.
Okay. You got to have the word of God in your heart. And you need to listen to Bishop Larry and others who aren't afraid to talk about this subject, L.A. Marzulli or Stan Dale or Steve Quayle or whoever. You got to understand that Satan, this is the last trick. This is the last card. If this was the World Series of Poker, we're at the final table and there's two people left at the table. Jesus Christ and Lucifer himself. And the cards are hidden. And they're about ready to turn the river over. And you better be ready because you want to be in the river of life, okay? You want to know what side you're on. So this is important to understand. And churches have got to take the time out to understand the time we're in this fig tree generation, where we're at in God's prophetic timeline. And aliens, whether you want to talk about it or not, whether you believe in it or not, you need to understand it is a part of the end time deception of the last days.
Well, I told my church 2 Sundays ago at the time of this recording, I told them, I said, look, I'm just going to tell you right now. I tried to warn you at the end of the last year that this was coming, and it's here now. I said, I'm going to tell you, your pastor has heard from God. And as far as I'm concerned for the sheep that I have been called to shepherd, we're going to know what's going on. So I began a series in my church, and I know the others have done it, but
I knew you was going to do it. I knew you said you was going to do it. Amen.
I did it, Pastor, and I began a series in my church on Sunday morning, not Wednesday night Bible study, not online only, Sunday morning. I began a series that I'm in right now that's going to go several weeks where I am preaching on aliens, UFOs, Nephilim. I'm breaking it down because I told our church, I said, let me tell you something. The world is lining up with their explanation, and the church is going to be blindsided once again, but not this church. And so what we started seeing, Pastor, we started seeing people come over from the big picture, start watching our church's channel. They're joining our church online. They are commenting. They're getting in there. They're meeting new people from around the world because they can't find pastors, not many pastors. And many of them have said, I can't find any pastors that will talk about these kind of things. And I believe listen, it's important because Jesus himself said the days of Noah. And watch this, y'all. The days of Noah is what he said. He didn't say the flood. In fact, he wouldn't have said, and before the flood. He said there's in the days of Noah and before the flood. He wasn't talking about the ark. He wasn't talking about the rain. He wasn't even talking about the flood. He was talking about this is how the conditions of the world would look just before I return. The days of Noah and the days before the flood. And y'all, nobody's talking about that in traditional church, but we're going to talk about it here. And I know you talk about it, and you've been doing this for a long time. So Pastor, I want to just say thank you again for being a part of the big picture. You are our favorite person to come on here. We love all our guests, but Paul Begley, you're family. I do. I do. I do. Well, God's blessing us with a lot of great connections. It's about to go to another level, but you're not just a guest, man. You're family. Me and Sandy love you and Heidi so much. We knew. You remember when we came up to Indiana and hung out with you and stayed in y'all's house? We sat in that living room and just talked, and me and my wife just said, this is not a YouTuber. This is not even a pastor. This is friends. We finally got some friends that we can hang out with, and there's no agendas. We can be real with, we can talk with, and that's who Paul and Heidi Begley are. I want everybody to know that's watching this. I'm telling you, Paul and Heidi Begley are the real deal. We love you, sir.
We love you too, and we feel the exact same way about you and Sandy. And we just, it's an honor. It's an honor to be on the big picture. It really is. Thank you. Well,
thank you. And you'll be back next month.
Yes, I will.
In about 4.5 minutes, we'll be over at Paul Begley Prophecy watching you tonight, and we're going to find out what in the world did you mean, Mike, by that email?
Mike, what are you talking about?
I'm going to get me a cup of coffee, and I'm going to try to calm down.
I don't think I can calm down, but we're gonna dig deep into this one. We're not gonna play around. We're going straight at it, right out of the blocks. Here we go. All
right, Paul. Love you, man. Thank you.
Love you.
To the Big Picture family, love you, love you, love you. And thank you for hitting that subscribe button, because I'm going to tell you what, it don't cost you anything. It takes just a matter of seconds. And if you are new to our channel tonight and you'd like to subscribe to our family, because we call ourselves the Big Picture family, you will be welcome. You will be loved. It will be such an honor to have you with us. Thank you so much. And for all of our partners, to our moderators that have done such a tremendous job in the live chat tonight and in the comment section. Guys, we couldn't do it without you. Until next time, we always want to remind you that no matter what's going on in the world, no matter if it's good, bad, or ugly, if it's aliens, UFOs, earthquakes, wars and rumors of wars, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake. God bless you. See you next time. We love you.
Would you like to help us build the Big Picture family? We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. All you have to do is go to our website at LarryRagland.com and make a one-time gift, or you can become a monthly partner. Any amount is a blessing and an encouragement to us. While you're there, make sure you get a copy of our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect with us on our social media links, and join our mailing list. We appreciate it. And remember, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.